You may have heard me or someone else saying that cancer is the disease of nice people, which is quite a statement to make considering the fact that researchers are still split on the topic of whether or not there is a possible biological connection between our personality type and cancer risk. As far as science goes, and it's always the case when research is ongoing, as far as science goes, some studies confirm that there's a link, some others debunked it. So we still don't have a clear or conclusive answer. Until we do, I feel, as a practitioner, I feel that I can stand behind my statement, and I can do that for two main reasons. First is my experience over the past 2 decades in supporting cancer patients and survivors. Experience that gives me a certain vantage point because almost every person that I've worked with has shared certain personality traits, certain behavioral patterns that certainly fits my definition of being nice. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. The second reason I believe I can stand behind that statement is that we can at least logically agree that certain personality traits, certain behaviors can either raise or lower our risk of getting sick. For example, people who maintain a more healthy lifestyle, active lifestyle, who are more positive or have a more positive outlook, people who are more health conscious. These kind of people are less likely to engage in activities like smoking or overeating or even basking in the sun for too long, activities that we absolutely do associate with a higher risk for cancer. On the other hand, we have a group of people that perhaps by default are more pessimistic and negative. Generally speaking, of course, these kind of people tend to, or this group of people tend to pay less attention to their physical states, to their diet, to their exercise, and that puts them at a higher risk for the disease. Logic is logic. I think that simply makes sense. So what does being nice have to do with all of this? And is it really true that being so-called nice puts you and me at a higher risk of getting cancer? Well, let's look at what we already know to get the answer. And we already know through research, through a field of scientific study called Psychoneuroimmunology. We know that there are certain patterns, mental and psychological patterns, like stress, for example, helplessness, hopelessness. These are patterns that can negatively impact the functioning of our body, the functioning of our biology, more specifically, the functioning of our immune system. That's now a scientific fact. Our mind does impact our biology. So is it that big of a leap to consider that some other personality traits and behaviors of so-called nice people, traits and behaviors like people-pleasing, pushing down anger, self-denial, self-deprivation, can these patterns also negatively impact our biology? I believe we just don't have the full picture yet. So we're going to wait for that conclusive answer. Now, look, obviously, I'm not saying that being nice is bad for us at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying that if we do recognize within ourselves these kind of patterns that I just mentioned, it may be worth our while to examine why we behave the way we behave, right? Why are we being so nice? What is fueling this mindset of putting other people's needs ahead of our own? That is something to think about. And generally speaking, if we're trying to define what being nice is, being nice refers to the tendency to worry more about other people and how they feel. It refers to our need to please others and do things for them, even if it's, again, our own best interest, right? Just so that we don't have to disappoint them. And when someone is nice, we can also say that they're often shy and sensitive, kind and well-mannered. They're always giving, always there for everybody except themselves. And even though they feel a wide range of emotions, all host of emotions, right? I mean, some are very strong emotions. They tend to bottle in their emotions rather than express them. So when you think about it, we have to ask, where do all these bottled in emotions, where do they end up? Because they don't just disappear. Of course not. Well, these powerful emotions end up in our body. All this volatile emotional energy, it sinks deep into our bodies and it festers and it's poisoning us from within. Suppressed emotions, unresolved trauma, our unresolved trauma, it can and it will negatively impact our biology and body, whether we are aware of it or not. And perhaps we're so concerned or afraid with what we might find within ourselves, so afraid of drowning in our own emotional pain, that we rather just direct our attention elsewhere, right? To other people and their needs, maybe direct our attention to work or social media. Pick your poison, but we tend to do that. But here is the heart of this message and what's really important for us to remember. Not addressing our emotions, our traumas, and our needs properly, it can lead to high levels of stress and anxiety, which means that our body will produce high levels of cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. And the presence of high levels of cortisol in the body over a long period of time can cause severe inflammation, which science has proven can turn into what they call a silent killer that contributes to all kinds of conditions, physical conditions like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, certainly cancer, and many others. If someone that we know fits into the definition of being nice, if they're constantly saying yes to what is being asked of them, never saying no, it's likely that this person is saying yes out of fear and lack of personal boundaries. That's not a healthy place to act from. And Dr. Gabor Mate, who's a well-known physician specializing in trauma, he once said that when we have been prevented from learning how to say no, our bodies may end up saying it for us. And if this hits home, it may just be time. Well, first of all, it may be just what your illness is trying to tell you, but it also may be time for you to upgrade and update yourself, your understanding of who you are, the way you think and feel about yourself, what you believe about yourself to be true. And the bottom line, and this is a message of hope, there is a great deal that you can do today to do just that, to change course and shift into what I call a wellness and recovery mode. This is exactly what I help my clients do every day. And upgrading or updating our understanding of ourselves means undoing a lifetime of beliefs and conditioning that we know is standing in our way of healing and recovery. Beliefs and conditioning that limits our body's ability to get the most out of a treatment and fully recover. And when we address our beliefs and conditioning properly, because we can't do it ourselves, we need some help to do that, then our body can once again become resilient and regain its ability to function at an optimal level. Okay? So hopefully some of what I said today resonated with you. And if you did, and you, like many of my clients, want to leave no stone unturned on your way back to better health, I will invite you to set up a time for us to speak, a short consultation, if you will, which is free and to the point. And let's find out if you're a ready candidate to do this kind of work, to get the most out of your treatment and get the kind of results that you really want in your life. Okay? Thank you. I look forward to speaking with you and supporting you. Thank you for watching. Take care.